Everybody, Jess here at Burnt Sewing. I wanted to take a moment to talk about a really awesome charity collection drive that we are doing here from now until May 31st to collect pillowcases for Ryan's Cases for Smiles. Ryan's Cases for Smiles is a great local charity that gives pillowcases to kids that are going through a lot of different medical treatments. And so this was actually started by a mom whose child was going through, child was going through cancer treatment, and all he wanted was a pillowcase, which is something so easy us as sewists or quilters or makers can easily make and give to somebody in need. So I thought between now and my 30th birthday, I wanted to collect 3,000 pillowcases, which sounds crazy, but I know we could do it. We're almost to 500, so 3,000 isn't that much further away. So in here we have pillowcases. If you want to come in, you can purchase a kit for $5. If you want them like done, finished, you just want to come in and pick them up and pick them out and sew them and then bring them in, or you can make your own. So a pillowcase kit only takes, this is our directions, everybody has a different version of them out there, 3/4 of a yard for the main fabric and then 1/4 of a yard for the cuff that goes around it. And then there's an optional 2-inch sashing piece that goes in between them. Our kits don't have that, but you're welcome to do that on your own kits if you want to. So this is a great charity that I'm hoping we can meet our 3,000 3,000 pillowcase goal. So but it's important to know that we don't just collect these for my birthday. We collect these all year round in addition to a lot of other really great charities. So I wanted to show everybody today how to make one. They're very easy to make, so I thought I would make a quick video showing all the steps with a video to make it a little bit easier to make. Okay, so now we have our two fabrics here. This one is going to be the cuff. And these can be out of any kind of fabric you want, cotton fabric, but they can be out of any print. So keep in mind, these are going to kids, teens, infants. So there's a lot of options in terms of fabric prints that you can use, which is kind of fun. You can go through your stash and kind of see what you have. So the first thing you want to do is put your cuff down right side facing up. And then you're going to take your body of your pillowcase and you're going to put that right side's facing down. Now, if you had the sashing piece, which is totally optional, you would be sandwiching it right in between here. It's usually 2 inches. You iron it in half lengthwise, and then you would just stick it right in here in the seam between the cuff and the main. So you can pin these if you want. The easiest way, I think, to get started is to put some pins along the edge here. I know you're probably thinking, Jess, why are we doing this? Just wait, you'll see it's magic. Okay, so once you get it pinned, then you're going to take your body and you're going to roll it. It's called the burrito pillowcase method because it quite literally looks like a burrito when you're working on it. And you're going to roll it until it's about halfway in between your cuff. And then you're going to flip this over. And you're going to match these seams again here. Or not the seams, you're going to match all the layers together again. These burrito pillowcases take 15 minutes, they say, to make from start to finish. And honestly, I think it's the only accurate time for any pattern or project ever. When they say 30-minute project, this one really is. So we're going to be making our pillowcase on our serger. It is National Serger Month, so it's a great time to get yours out and give it a go. So we're going to be using ours on the Bernina L890, which is a fabulous machine. But you could also do this on a sewing machine. So you would do the same thing I'm doing right now, but just with a regular straight stitch. So we're going to put this in and we're going to sew down the entire thing. And you're just going to keep the edges straight together. And this is why I suggest clips for sure if you're going to be using a serger. Just makes them a little bit easier to see so that you're not accidentally sewing over them. So the beauty of doing this on a serger is it's cutting off the edge at the same time I'm sewing it. So it's giving it a really strong, clean finish. And you want to make sure as you're serging this or sewing it that you're not getting the burrito caught up in your seam. So if you do, you'll have to seam rip them out. So it's going to look like this once you've sewn your burrito. And so now the next step, what you want to do is you want to take the burrito out. So this is the magic part. So you're going to pull this out through the middle. You're going to like wiggle it and it's going to come out. So the nice part about this, and the reason why people like to do the burrito pillowcase method, is because it completely encapsulates your seam and making it really clean on the inside. And it's like 3 steps shorter than a regular pillowcase. All right, ready for the magic? Ta-da! Okay, I know, you're all, wow. So now it's ready and done. So now we're going to go press this. The next thing you want to do, just so that you get a really nice seam, is that we are going to go ahead and press. So right now I'm using our Lara Star. This is my all-time favorite iron ever. Okay, so at this point, we have ironed our pillowcase. So if you were going to sew this on a sewing machine, what you would do is you'd want to trim these edges even, because I'm doing it on a serger and it's already doing all the extra work for me. I'm not going to worry about cutting off the selvage. I'm going to let the machine do that. So the first thing you want to do if you're doing it on a sewing machine is you're going to sew down the seam with wrong sides together. It's going to end up making a French seam for you. And then once you sew that seam, then you're going to go ahead and flip it right sides together and sew the seam one more time. What that's going to do is going to completely encase the seam, kind of like we did at the top with the cuff. But I find that it's easier to do it on a serger. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and I put a clip here just to make sure I'm matching the seam for the cuff to each side so that it stays nice and cute. You do want to know, if you're not going to trim off your seam allowance up front, that you have an idea of where your selvage is. All fabrics are slightly different, but I can see here I'm going to need about this much cut off in order to get it perfectly lined up. Okay, so once you get across here, if you were sewing, you've already flipped this inside out, and so your seam and the inside is going to be a nice French seam, and then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the bottom here as well. And you don't have to worry about the tails that are coming off at the beginning, because we're going to end up serging right back over them, but at the end I'll show you what we're going to do with them. This is what it looks like, and so before you trim it, before you turn it inside out, if you are serging this rather than sewing it, you do have one more step, and it's just to hide these tails. So you can either trim them and put some fray check on them, or you can use the double-eyed needle and fish them back through your seam. It just keeps them from not getting caught up and, you know, kind of coming apart. Now you want to go ahead and fish through this extra seam here. So we have what we call this tool. It's called Lil Hooky. And it makes it quite literally so that you could take your serger seam tails and fish them back through. You want to point it towards the tail. Obviously, if you go the other way, it's not going to catch much of anything. So when you put it through, you want to kind of avoid all of your other serger seams there. And then you just want to sew nicely and gracefully pull this through. Okay, so now we have flipped our pillowcase right sides out, and you want to just poke out your corners, preferably not with scissors, but you do you. And so this is what the pillowcase looks like finished. Super cute. This one has little fishies on it. So for Ryan's Cases for Smiles, we are asking, if you haven't done it already or you can't do this, it's okay. We are going to do a bulk wash of them all that weren't washed. So if you are donating pillowcases, it just makes it a little bit easier for them when they're distributing them. If you wash these ahead of time, wash them in non-scented laundry detergent like Dreft or something. And then they ask that if you can, bag them all up individually into a plastic bag. So even some of the ones that we had kitted up already had plastic bags with them. So if you just stick them back in that plastic bag and drop them off, we'll know that they're washed. If you don't have time to wash them, that's totally okay. We will go ahead and wash a bunch of them at the end. So if you're looking for a job to help us iron and fold at our sew-a-thon in a couple weeks on May 7th, we're going to be doing a pillowcase sew-a-thon from 6 to midnight. We have tons of different things that need to get done with doing pillowcases that night. So if you are not a sewist, or maybe you just don't feel like sewing that night, if you want to come in, we have some folding and some stuffing in plastic bags to do for the pillowcases that we've already washed. But that's how you make a 15-minute pillowcase. Super easy. So thank you for anybody that wants to go ahead and try to make these or donate them to us. Every single entry, or every single pillowcase that gets donated gets an entry to potentially win some gift cards that we're doing in a gift card giveaway for Burn Sewing. So thanks again, and I look forward to reading our goal.